Title: Fractured Bonds. A young boy having an affair with his best friend mom. Before going to story, please subscribe my channel for more moral stories of real-life facts. Hi, I'm Clara Engel, and I'm 35 years old. I'm married to a man who spends more time at board meetings than he does at home, and I have a son who looks up to his father in ways I wish he didn't. By all appearances, I have everything: wealth, status, a beautiful home. But when the lights go out at night, I'm left with nothing but silence. Until Jonas Keller walked into my life. It was a typical Saturday afternoon when Marcus brought Jonas home for the first time. "Mom, this is Jonas," Marcus said as they burst through the door, their backpacks slung over their shoulders. I glanced up from the novel I was reading, and there he was, tall, broad-shouldered, with a shy smile that felt disarming. He mumbled a polite hello, his dark eyes meeting mine briefly before flicking away. At first, he was just Marcus's best friend. Polite, quiet, respectful. He stayed for dinner often, complimented my cooking, and occasionally helped me carry groceries into the house. But as the weeks turned into months, our conversations grew longer. It was late one evening, with Marcus fast asleep upstairs, when I found Jonas sitting alone on the back porch. He had come over to study, but something seemed to weigh heavy on him. I stepped outside, the cool air brushing against my skin. "Couldn't sleep?" I asked, wrapping my cardigan tighter around me. He shook his head, a troubled look crossing his face. "Just a lot on my mind." Something about the way he said it made me pause. I sat down beside him. "Want to talk about it?" And so it began. Jonas opened up about his family, how his parents barely spoke, how their house felt like a war zone more often than not. I listened, offering the kind of comfort I wished someone had given me years ago. From that night on, our bond deepened. The turning point. It was a rainy afternoon when everything changed. Marcus was out with friends, and Jonas had stopped by to return a book I had lent him. We were in the living room, the sound of rain tapping against the windows, when he handed me the book. "You didn't have to bring it back so soon," I said with a smile. "I wanted to," he replied, his voice soft. Our fingers brushed as I took the book from him. A spark ignited, a moment that neither of us could ignore. "Clara," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I don't know how to say this, but you're—" I didn't let him finish. Perhaps it was the loneliness, or the way his eyes looked at me like I was the only person in the world. I leaned in, and for the first time in years, I felt alive. A love that shouldn't be. Our affair began in secret, shrouded in stolen moments and hushed conversations. Every touch felt forbidden, every glance charged with the weight of what we were risking. But with passion came paranoia. Marcus started noticing the way Jonas lingered when he came over, the way my laughter seemed brighter when he was around. "You seem different," Marcus said one evening, his eyes narrowing as he looked between me and Jonas. "What's going on?" "Nothing," I replied quickly, my heart pounding. "You're imagining things." But Marcus wasn't the only one watching. My husband, Thomas, had been growing suspicious too. The fallout. The day our secret unraveled was a nightmare. Marcus came home early from practice, his footsteps echoing in the hallway as he walked in on Jonas and me locked in a passionate embrace. "Mom?" Marcus's voice cracked with shock and betrayal. The devastation in his eyes shattered me. "It's not what it looks like," I stammered, but the damage was done. Jonas tried to apologize, but Marcus lashed out, his fists clenched. "You were my best friend," he shouted. "How could you do this to me? To my family?" Word spread quickly. Thomas found out and wasted no time filing for divorce, using the affair as leverage to take everything: our home, our reputation, and worst of all, Marcus. Jonas, ostracized and guilt-ridden, left town, his once bright future dimmed by the scandal. The cost of desire. Months later, I found myself alone in a small apartment, far from the life I once knew. Jonas reached out once, asking if we could meet. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We sat in a quiet cafe, the weight of our choices hanging between us. "I thought we were in love," he said, his voice thick with regret. But all we did was destroy everything. I nodded, tears streaming down my face. We were selfish, Jonas. We didn't think about anyone but ourselves. As we parted ways, I realized the truth. Our love, though intoxicating, had come at too high a price. The pursuit of forbidden desires may feel thrilling in a moment, but it often leaves a trail of pain and loss. True happiness comes from selflessness, not selfish indulgence.